Okay. There's been a lot of talk about passion and about programming, but actually, if I take a look at myself, my passion lies in creating something. I always want to express whatever my feelings are or whatever in different ways. So I create music, I like to draw, I like to program. And what's really good with programming is that you can actually create whatever you want. And as Martin started out with, you can realize your dreams by programming. And there's also a choice in life where you can either program or be programmed. So it's just a matter on which side do you want to be. Do you want the one to be the one who actually tells something or someone to do something, or do you want to be told what to do? And the answer to that question for me is simple. I want to be the one who creates stuff and tell people and also tell computers what to do. With that introduction, I will now get the almost impossible mission to Could we have some quiet, please? Could we have some quiet? Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, as I said, I will have 10-15 minutes tops to learn you how to program. So how many have programmed before? Any language? One, okay. Okay, some colleagues over there as well. Okay, but no prior experience. Good. Then I think this tool, Scratch, is an excellent start to learn to program. Okay. So, what is a program anyway? I mean, you've been using computers, you've been using phones, you've been using a lot of things that contain some sort of piece of code. But what is it actually? And when I got to this presentation, I asked the question myself, because I've been programming so many years now, so I actually forgot. So I had to look it up in Wikipedia. And the correct definition is a sequence of a number of instructions to perform some sort of task. And what that means is that, for starters, it's quite boring, isn't it? It's almost like describing how to paint or something. It's quite boring, but I thought I would go into detail about it. A sequence is just a list of something. In this case, a number of instructions. And the task is actually what you want to achieve. So in this, I have an example of kind of a pirate map, or where you want to find some sort of treasure. And the sequence in this case is all the instructions. Sorry.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, the sequence is actually the number of instructions you have here. For example, by a certain tree, you have to face north, and then you would walk a number of steps, and then turn a number of degrees. And then continue so until you actually find the treasure. And that is the actual goal, the task of the program. So you can actually see a treasure map like this as a program. And now over to Scratch. Cute cat. That's the logo of Scratch. And the idea behind Scratch is that it's been developed by MIT as a research project. But they actually developed kind of a graphical way of program. Normally when you do programming, you do it by text, entering text. But this is an excellent way of getting started into programming. But there are some concepts that we have to go through before we can start programming. Anyone heard Sprite? What that is? Okay. In computer graphics or in programming, a sprite is some sort of graphical thing that you can move and do stuff on the screen. So whenever you're playing a game, if that's Angry Bird or whatever, the bird that is flying over and the pigs is actually sprites. Simple as that. And all sprites has some sort of position on the screen because it can move around, right? And also the background, if that's flowing, that has some sort of position as well. And it also has some sort of direction where it's going. For example, when you swing the bird, it has some sort of direction and then gravity and all kinds of variables to it. And then the skin, or klädsel in Sweden, is actually how it looked like. So by running a number of images in a sequence, it can animate. It can look like a cartoon or whatever. So the variables, that's another concept, is the way where you can actually change these values. So you can change the position. You can give an instruction saying, go to this position, and the sprite will go there. And also, an important part of programming is the programming part, of course, and that's the script. So the script contains all the instructions that is needed to actually move this sprite. And here we have some sort of a coordinate system. As I said, you had X and Y. How many have encountered coordinate system before? You're doing it in math, right? Yeah? But here the cat is at position 0, 0, which means X 0 and Y 0. And by giving it instruction saying, hey, I want the current value of X be X plus 100, we can change that into making this sprite move. So we actually, by giving it one instruction, we actually got it to move a step. And then we can say, okay, I want to add 50 to Y. Then we change it a little bit more. So by changing that variable, X and Y, we can make it move on the screen. And it's simple as that. Yeah, I've been talking about instructions, and there's a lot of instructions that you can do with a computer, or in this case, Scratch. For example, the first one, gå till X and Y. That means go to this position. And if you give that instruction, that cat will move to that position. And as you see, the instructions here is actually like a graphical figure of, it looks a little bit like Lego. And they actually stick together, because when we stick them together, they form a sequence. So we can run. So whenever the computer has executed one of these instructions, it will go and execute the next one, and then as fast as it can. And it will do so millions of times per second. So these are just some examples of instructions that you can use in Scratch. There's a lot more of them. Then the next one are control blocks, which is divided into two subgroups. There are control blocks that are used for events, something that is happening within the computer. So whenever you press, for example, a keyboard, if you press down arrow or something like that, that creates an event. And that is important because we want to start the sequence, we want to start the instructions. So if I press the down arrow, I want the Y variable to change, so the cat or whatever you want to change. And also the first one over there is when I press the green flag, that means start the program. I can start off by executing some instructions. And the next one are loops. And loops are used to do boring stuff a lot of times. So rather than having a lot of instructions in just one sequence, we can have a much smaller block saying repeat this 10 times. Or, like in the first place, do it forever. And then the next one are conditions. So we're going through the sprite concept and the control blocks and I forgot the name of it. Anyway, now to a condition. This is the last thing that you need to learn. Here you can actually determine if something is true or false. So you use this in order to control the sequence. So you can say that if the cat moves the banana, then it should say mums in 2 seconds. And I'm going to show you the program itself. This is how the environment looks like. So here's the cat. And as you see, it's actually in a coordinate system now. So here you can see X and Y. Do you see anything back there? Yes. Okay, good. I can zoom in. X and Y there. So if I go and move this cat, you can see it change. So by giving it instructions, I can make it do whatever we want. So let's make a small program here. So this, I want to reset the cat. I want to put it in a special position when I start off. So I do this by adding this block. And now I can say, go to this position. So if I move this one now and I start the program, it will go to that position. But what's even cooler is that I can have this block when I press the right arrow. I should add X with 10, for example. So now when I press this, I can actually move the cat. But only in that direction, because I need some more if I want to be able to move it back and forth. And here I can change X with -10 because I want it to go backwards. So now I can move it back and forth. So this is the most simple program you can ever think of. And as you see, it's just graphical blocks with events, something that is happening. In this case, the right arrow and the left arrow, and then I just give it an instruction to change the position. And whenever I start the program, it will reset. And here you can add other stuff as well. So we can add, I don't know, some sort of ant. Fisk. Okay, so if we want this fish to actually move against the cat, I can say something like this. When I start the program, I want it forever point in the direction of the cat. Let's rename this one to cat. That would be the fish. Nah. Okay, point it against the cat, and then I want it to go, for example, 1 step. Just 1 step. So what will happen now is that when I press this button, it will forever point against the cat, and then it will move 1 step, and then forever, because it will loop. Let's see. Ooh. Oh no. Oh, it will eat it. Okay. So this is the beginning of a kind of a game that I had in mind that we could create.